UFC 325 has wrapped up, and that main event went exactly how everyone with common sense should have thought it was gonna go. And this card overall was an Australian card, so the name value wasn't all that. The card it wasn't crazy, but it was all right. Like, I don't know how I feel about cards like this, guys. This is a pay-per-view card, and I feel like it was a little bit lackluster in some aspects. But we're gonna start off with the main event because I feel like this is one of those main events with where nothing changes. Like, yes, Volk won. Let's applaud Volk, first of all, who 5-0'd Diego Lopes. Because there's people in the world, dude, I don't know if it's even true or something. My chat was saying at the end of the live stream, it said like MMA Guru said Lopez won. Listen, I didn't even know this fight was competitive. Like, watching it from this aspect, I thought it was 5-0 Volk. Even the one round where Diego Lopes dropped Volkanovski, before that, he was just getting hit with right hands and not doing anything. Like, you can't lose 4 minutes and 50 seconds, then drop someone and like, I won the round. And it wasn't one of those drops where like, oh shit, he dropped him, he's hurt. It's one of those like, oh, he took a knee and he's back up to his feet. Nothing happened. You know, Volkanovski had him 5-0, maybe 4-1 if you're going to count that BS round, but no other round was particularly close. Like, I understand Lopez having close moments, but it was really just Volk low kicking and finding his range and like landing bigger shots and being in and out. Volk dictated everything with this fight. Like, the way this fight went is all because of what Volk wanted to do with him. You know, Volk wanted to enter. That's when Diego Lopes would throw. This is what happens when you get undeserved. When undeserved title shots happen, shit like this is going to happen. Dana White promoting this fight saying shit like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. We're all better off not watching this main event because it was exactly the copy and paste of the first fight. You know, if anything, Diego Lopes got worse. He just threw a lot less. Lopez had his second opportunity for the belt within 365 days. And he goes in there and kind of just stands there and like, yeah, dude, let's fucking back. Fuck, what was your game plan? You know, and yeah, Volk adjusted a lot better than him. Volk was moving a lot better. Volk didn't fatigue this time around. Volk was mixing the wrestling to make Diego Lopes very wary. Even Lopez was going back to his corner telling him things along the lines of like, his takedowns. I'm worried about the takedowns. Like, Volk just out IQ'd him. This is literally like the top tier IQ versus horrible IQ. Like, this is the difference between the two of these guys. Volk was just so much better in every way, shape, or form. What really wasn't a close fight. Volk, I don't know where Diego goes after this. He's probably going to get another title fight. Yeah, man. Then White's going to be like, yeah, man, trilogy, man. If Lopez could beat one person, I'm going to give a trilogy, man. Why not? Fuck off, man. One-sided ass whooping by Alexander Volkanovski. He literally made Lopez look so insignificant in every way. Yeah, like, I don't know. Even him against Gene Silva, like, his Gene Silva win didn't look that impressive to me. Outside of the spinning elbow, like, the first round was cool because of grappling, but I knew he wasn't going to grapple against Volk. Even though when he tried to grapple against Volk was just so game to it and would get up really quickly. Volk's still good. At the age of 37, whooping a 31-year-old that bad was very impressive. So I got to give Volk his flowers. The thing is, legacy-wise, nothing happens with Volk. He doesn't go up. He's not greatest of all time all of a sudden for beating the guy he just beat. And pretty much the same copy and paste fight. This one's a little bit more one-sided, but even then, Lopez hit him a couple times. You know, yeah, there's not really much to gauge or talk about with this fight because it's kind of just it was like lackluster in a sense. It wasn't boring per se. Volk, I feel like all Volk fights kind of feel the same for me. They're not really boring. They're one of those fights where like you're nervous for Volk, but this one I wasn't really nervous after the first two rounds because I'm like, okay, Volk just looks a lot better than Diego, you know, and Diego just he's gonna hate himself in the morning for just having a whole lot of no output in that fight. It was kind of embarrassing for him. But yeah, Volkanovski masterclass, not much to gauge from this fight. Now, this fight, I actually want to talk about this because this fight was hilarious. I actually picked Dan Hooker to win, you know, because I was very confident in Dan Hooker stuffing the takedowns and just putting it on him in the feet. And I was 100% right. Dan Hooker was stuffing the takedowns. He was putting it on him in the feet, throwing beautiful teeps to the body, hurting him to the body, having him lower in there. Every single time BSD would go for a takedown, Dan Hooker would threaten to choke. It would force BSD to roll, which it leads to Dan Hooker winning the scramble. Dan Hooker won the first round. Like, BSD did take him down at the end of it, didn't steal him the round. Second round started, Dan Hooker doing that same choke to get him off of every single takedown attempt. Dan Hooker was looking fine. He was looking beautiful. And then Dan Hooker shoots a takedown. Like, when people say horrible fight, like, I kid you not. Like, I was like, this is one of those predictions I'm going to have a I told you so moment. Because I watched Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. I'm like, Dan Hooker is good at, like, defending takedowns and keeping it standing and putting it on people. You know? And I was in my head, I was like, BSC's grappling is very overrated. And I was kind of right. His offensive wrestling is really bad. Like, he can't really get you down, you know. But you could literally see, there was the second, I'll tell you guys right now, the second Dan Hooker went for the takedown, if you go back in my stream, you'll see it. I was like, it's over. I knew. Oh, Dan trying to wrestle him is a fucking it. Oh, Dan just lost the fight. Dan just lost himself the fight right there. It's over. I knew what that fight was right when Dan Hooker attempted that takedown and got reversed, because in my head I'm like, you're literally stuffing his takedowns. Every time he's getting close to a takedown, you threaten a choke, he gets off you, then he starts running at you like an imbecile, and you start counterpunching him and hurting him even more. Like, this BSD is a ticking time bomb waiting to get finished by you. You know, you've been in some scraps with Dustin. You've been in some crazy scraps, and BSD is trying to like play into that, just a lot more sloppy, a lot more easy to hit. The same way Dustin Poirier finished him. You know, Dustin Poirier finished him because he kept coming forward, got caught with a counter. Dan Hooker was catching him with counters. Dan Hooker looked like he was so much better than Benoit Saint Denis tonight. And then he was like, yeah, let me throw away the fight. And then he goes for a takedown. And BSD's grappling, like, man, he was just on him. He failed a couple arm triangles, then he finishes him, man, from ground and pound. Honestly, Dan Hooker could have lasted that whole fight. I would say Dan Hooker could have not lasted the whole fight. He could have lasted the end of the round, but Herb Dean just wanted to stop it. Fair enough. I don't really care about the stoppage. My whole thing is Dan Hooker had a chance to win, but he threw it away because he didn't want to win that bad. You know, attempting a takedown on a grappler, I guess I can't wrap my head around. I'm trying my hardest to understand where he was coming from, but the success he was having on stopping the takedowns and the non-success BSD was having trying to score takedowns and just ended up getting put in a chokehold, you would think that Dan Hooker would like to keep doing what he was doing, but no. I guess the Aussie crowd hyped him up. He thought he could go for a takedown. He gets embarrassed. So Dan Hooker throws away a win that he should have clearly beat. Like, this is one of the easiest fights for Dan Hooker in his life, and he throws it away. So I got to congratulate Dan Hooker. Very impressive way to throw away a win. And shout out BSD for just fighting like how he always fights. BSD is not very good to me. I know I did pick him to beat Beneil Dariush, but that's because I know how bad Beneil Dariush is. Yeah, outside of that, this fight was just embarrassing for Dan Hooker. This fight surprised me. Now, I did pick Fiziev to beat Rufi. Now, Rufi surprised me in more than one ways. Like, I do think Fiziev won the first round. I thought he was doing good. But towards the end of that first round, I noticed a shift. Now, Rufi's a little bit more kicking heavy, you know. And in my head, I was like, if they go kick for thick, kick for thick. If they go kick for thick, if they go kick for kick, I think Fiziev is gonna have the better kicking arsenal. I was right on that, but I wasn't expecting Rufi's counterpunching to be so much better. Like, when it came to the boxing, it was night and day. When it came to the kicks, yes, Fiziev might have been better, but it wasn't enough because the counterboxing of Rufi was clean. Now, Fiziev does something every single fight where he moves his head pretty well. Like, he slips like this for the first round, but after that, it kind of disappears from him. Same thing happened in this fight, but the problem with this is Rufi was really good with that straight down the middle and those 1-2s down the middle. The jab was wearing on it. You could actually see Rafael's face at the end of the fight. Those jabs were damaging. Like, it was swelling up his eyes, hurting his face pretty bad. Rufi was kind of just dictating what he wanted to do with his straight punches. Now, he wasn't on the front foot at all. As a matter of fact, he was on the back foot. But how sharp his counter striking is and how heavy it is, and like the thudding noise of when he landed on him was very significant. He reminds me very much of prime Conor McGregor. I'm not even trying to glaze here, but his counter striking was really clean in this one. So, you know, I did think he was going to beat BSD. BSD beats him, so then I kind of jumped the gun. I was like, you know what? He's not that good. But the truth of the matter is, to beat Rufi, you're going to need a grapple or take him down. You know, and slow down all that. Because when he did get taken down by BSD, it looked like that pop was kind of gone. You know, so you have to wrestle him to beat him. You know, and I made the mistake thinking Fiziev could outstrike him because he can't. Like, he was outstriking him, yes, but like when it came to it, Rufi just seemed like it was a ticking time bomb before he had him hurt. Rufi impressed me, you know. I was off the bandwagon after the BSD one. I'm back on the bandwagon. He looks promising. He looks talented, and his accuracy and his power behind his accuracy and his timing and reactivity is something like prime McGregor. Like, how reactive and how much quicker he was in the hands. The hands were night and day in this fight. So Rufi, he gained another, you know, he gained me back. You know, I'm back on the train, brother. You're a good fighter. And you school Fiziev because Fiziev didn't have head movement. You have to have head movement to beat him. Either be a good wrestler or have head movement. Fiziev didn't wrestle, and his head movement was lackluster after the first round, so Rufi gets it done. Very impressive performance. His stock definitely goes up in that one. This fight, oh my God. This is the welcome to Paramount, man. Ranked heavyweights, by the way. No, like, you guys think look at the rankings. Like, I think he was number 12, he was number 15, whatever. Ranked heavyweights. You know, this was like one of the worst fights ever. Tuivasa just a slob. He's really sloppy. Teixeira is so bad. Teixeira's longest fight before this was like, what, 36 seconds? First time he goes a distance, he was like bobbling. He was like bobbling around at the end of the first. Like, after the first, he was just bobbling and wobbling around. He just looked like a goofball. And Tuivasa, he just doesn't know how to wrestle. You know, it's very surprising that this went the distance, but in retrospect, I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised. They're just really low level. Heavyweights are like, delete the whole weight class. They can't be ranked. Like, that can't be number 12 ranked, and that can't be number 15 ranked. And what, he's going to move up in the rankings now, or he's going to be number 8 because you be, bro, get out of here. Get out of here. These guys are so trash. Teixeira actually was horrible. Tuivasa was even worse somehow, some way. Tuivasa even had moments in the third round. He just couldn't capitalize on it because he was very tired and he was just very sloppy. Very embarrassing fight for both of these guys. Both of their stock goes down to a point where I think they should both be kicked out the UFC. Maybe just delete the whole heavyweight weight class. Like, so much is happening with the champion. People who are ranked look like this. Very, very shitty division. It's like, man, like, what is the UFC division coming to? Like, what is the UFC in general coming to? Just never book these two again. I don't know what else to say. All right, next we got Quillan Salkild versus Jamie Mullarkey. Quillan actually looked very impressive. At first, I was like, is Jamie Mullarkey going to vet max him? And then quickly I found out Quillan is still a good grappler. You know, I actually did forget that he was such a great grappler because his flashy knockout last time. But no, his grappling, and like when I see him get a hold of Jamie Mullarkey, I was like, you know what? He was a good grappler. And he gets the finish really quickly. It wasn't even under the neck. It was just a face crank. But yeah, Quillen's good. Quillen's actually good. Like, I looked at him after that fight. I was very impressed. And he needs to be fighting a ranked opponent soon because I think he does good. I really want to see the Fair Ziam fight. I think that fight's very high level for both those guys. They both have the top 2 or like the top 3 longest win streaks along with Arman Sarukian in the weight class, I believe. So they're both very, you know, him and Fairs is like a very even, I want to say even fight to a sense. So I really do want to see that fight. Quillen's good. And even Jamie Mullarkey's not a great win, but like that's a vet who could send back bots. And I actually thought he was doing pretty good against Quillen before Quillen was like, you know what, bro? Bro, that slam by Quillen was nasty before that finish anyway. It's like, Quillen just looked really good. He's very promising. I'm keeping my eye on him because he's definitely one of those better prospects. Justin Tafa versus Billy Elkanah. Tafa might have been the only Australian to lose, by the way, on the card. No surprise there. I told you guys there's no way I could put money on Tafa. Tafa actually had him hurt in the first round. But one thing about the Tafa brothers, you get them on the ground, they're different people. Their gas tank depletes, and they're so easy to submit. They never learned BJJ in their life. Tafa looked the best he's ever looked, actually, against Elkanah in that first round. His defensive boxing was great. His counter boxing was great. He scared me for a second, man. But Elkanah, of course, gets it done because he's just a better fighter. No real surprise there outside of the Justin Tafa, Junior Tafa looking good. Both the Tafa brothers need to leave. They're probably the worst thing to happen in the UFC. They're both so bad. You know, this guy's record was 6-4. Now he's 6-5. His record sounds like a height. Like, his record sounds like a height record. Like, I don't know, man. Tafa needs to get out of here. He's so bad. Like, I don't know why he's still in the UFC. The only Aussie to lose on the card, I believe. So, very embarrassing performance by this kid. Cam Ralston versus Cody Brutnage. Now, I did have Cam for this one. Cam did pull through. Cody was game for about a round like he always is, and then Cam ended up going in there and breaking him as the fight elongated. Ends up getting the finish. Yeah, he got him. I believe he got him down a couple of times with some takedowns. Cam is just like, how do I explain him? He's just like he reminds me of like a Izzy mixed with, I don't want to say Izzy, but he's very City Kickboxing-esque because he trains out of there. He's very heavy on the feints. He had Cody Brutnage reacting to everything. His chin's really high. There was a point Cody almost caught him. But like everywhere the fight went, I feel like it was just better for Quillen. There was actually no takedowns in this fight. I misinterpreted that. I don't know why I said there was takedowns. I just remember them like scrambling a little bit and clinching. I don't know how that happened. I think it was more Cody Brutnage who was initiating it. But yeah, when Cam had him hurt, he had him hurt. He gets the finish in the second. Cam looked I don't want to say a lot better than Brutnage, but he looked better than Brutnage. Brutnage kind of had a round to give, and then after that, it was kind of shambles. All right, moving on. Jacob Malkoun versus Taurus Finney. I did say I got Malkoun for the win. He did do what I thought he was going to do. He was just a good grappler, and it's the first time Finney went against a good grappler. Oddly enough, I knew Finney was going to get dominated, but I will say Finney's actually surprised me because I thought his striking was like nothing. I thought he had zero striking. He has a pretty quick overhand and hooks. Like he's not that bad, so I don't think his stock went down as much as I thought it would. I knew he was going to get cooked. That's why I said he's going to get destroyed this fight. But I will say I'm a little bit surprised about like how he performed, if that makes sense. Like I feel like his hands look pretty good. But yeah, as far as the grappling goes, I knew this guy wasn't going to go in there and grapple someone. He was 11-0 before this, by the way. But yeah, Jacob gets it done. Pretty easy pick for me. Not too hard to get right. Then this fight, Oben Elliott versus Mekhalif, whatever his name is. This one surprised me. I thought Oben could get it done. Oben looked a lot better in the first round. He kind of just got size mogged. He was kind of just outstriking him. And then once it came to the grappling, like Jonathan was just way stronger, dude. Like his size. Oben kind of got size mogged his last two fights. I'm starting to think he's too small for welterweight. Maybe he goes down to 155 because once you get a hold of Oben, he looks just insignificant. So yeah, Jonathan gets him out of there once he gets a hold of him. But before that, it was all Oban Elliott. Oban looked like a better fighter, but better fighters don't win if they can't like match the strength. And this guy just strength mocked him. He has the strength of a horse, dude. Like he got a hold of him. He just seemed like Oban couldn't go anywhere. Then immediately gets a choke and just makes Oban suffer. So shout out to Aussie. He gets it done off of just being strong as hell and not that talented. Early prelims, I'll be real, guys. I only watched half of this, and I watched rounds 2 and 3. It was clearly the dude on my right, Yiza. And I heard round 1 was Yiza. I heard it was actually 3-0 Yiza. It's one of the worst robberies in UFC history. And that's all we could really go off of as far as this fight. It's just a horrible robbery. Shout out to Aussie for getting it done. They want to make sure every single Australian wins, and they needed fights like this to happen. And I didn't watch a single one of these. Oh my God, not every Aussie won because Nakamura won. But I didn't watch any single of these other ones, so I can't really talk to you guys about that. But yeah, overall, like a card that really does not much for anybody. Like Volk's legacy didn't really go up. Heavyweights just look shit. You know, I guess Rufy shows that he's still him, you know, and Dan Hooker shows that poor fight IQ trumps all. But let me know what you guys thought about this card. I thought the card was all right. I did all right in picks, you know, not as good as last week, but it is what it is. What can we say? That's it. Have a good one. God bless. 2, 3, 4.